Hey everybody, my name is Peter, and in this video I would like to show you a very simple way of attaching a servo to a Walkera 250 so that you can tilt the camera from the remote. The basic idea is when you move forward on the remote, the camera goes up, and when you move backwards, the camera goes down, so that you always have the horizon in your line of sight. All you need for this is an inexpensive servo and a 3D printer to print 3 parts. These 3 parts replace the original frame for the camera with a new one that can hold a servo and 2 attachments for the camera that make it adjustable. To make things easier to see for this video, I've printed the frame in a different color. To start with this, we remove the goggles and the frame of the camera by removing the 4 screws on the top with a 1.5 millimeters hex screwdriver. And the 2 screws on the lower side of the copter. When removing the camera, remember the orientation of the camera. For mine, the cable is coming out on the lower side of the camera. You have to mount it when you mount it back in the same direction, otherwise the picture will be upside down. Now the first step is to move the servo into the frame. Start with the cable. Then let the servo follow. Servo should sit pretty tight in the frame. So, that's it. You can see it's tight here. Let's see, it fits over here too. The cable you can place behind this. So, that was the first step. We have now is the frame with a mounted servo in it. The next step is to attach the servo adapter bracket to the camera. You can use the original screws, 2 mm from the camera, or you can use replacement screws, it doesn't matter. I'm not using the black one now, since it's very difficult to see. I've printed a gray one, and I've marked the little F on the front side of this. So, the F means front side. We place this on the camera. Make sure we can see the screw hole. Then, turn the screw in here. So this should now sit straight on the camera. There is one step more required for the preparation. In the case you use the 5-pin cable to connect the camera, you have to connect the cable now, because later it will be covered by the servo. So now we proceed with inserting the frame with the servo into the copter. First, place the cable somewhere in here. Insert the frame. Yeah, I know the blue one looks ugly. In here. So, we can now connect the servo to the expansion slot. To use the forward and backward pitch of the remote controller, we have to use the 3 upper pins here. We can use the cable of the servo directly. So I'm just now wrapping it here around this foot twice. You can also zip tie it to the frame, and then we attach it to the upper 3 pins with the brown side minus at the outside of the copter. So this is it. Servo is connected. Now we should turn on the copter and bind it to the remote to make sure that the servo is in a straight position. So connecting it now. Have to make sure that it is connected, and then you can check the functioning of the servo with the remote controller. You can hear it. What we achieve with this is that the servo is now in its neutral position. Now we can turn both the copter and the remote back off. We are ready to place the camera in the frame. Now we choose a position that should be the neutral position of the camera, like this for example. Then just slide it into the servo. This is it. Now turn it to the side. We have to mount this little thing. It's normally black, but I've printed the gray one and I've colored this stripe black so that it's easier to see. The stripe has to be in the front. Place it in here. Put in the screw and attach the screw. So, and after inserting the screw, this little stripe here should still look to the front. Now the camera should still be in its neutral position. And we'll check this by powering on the copter and the remote once more. And the camera should already be moving when we move the back and forward on the remote. That's almost it. We can now insert the screws back into the frame. And the upper 2 screws for the frame. So for this LED, you have to move it very as close to the middle of the copter as possible to get the screw hole right here. This is still the blue frame, but nevertheless I'm doing this to check the functionality now. Yeah, seems to work. So there's one final thing we have to do. We have to connect the camera cable. And we're ready for takeoff.